Hi everyone, this is Jess, aka Sketchwriter Jess. Um, First I have one announcement. I'm participating in NaNoWriMo. It's Camp NaNoWriMo, and I had talked about it on Monday, I believe, last Monday. And so I'm cutting back on filming. I will be filming on Sundays still, and I will be filming Monday and Thursday. I'll be coming back so that I can tell you what's new in the shop. I mean, I don't know if you follow it, but you can watch it if you want. Um, I'm still writing the tarot readings and selling them. It's a lot of work to film it also, and I feel like they're really special pieces, and I need to be able to charge what they're worth. I need to be able to sell them in my shop. Now, the ones on the videos don't get sold in the shop, but the other ones, they're a little, they have a little bit more depth at the end, I guess. More sexual tension, that kind of thing. Um, so, I recommend that, like if you want something that kind of combines something where you're learning and something that makes you feel all different kinds of things at the same time, then it may be just the thing for you. I know it's weird, isn't it? Um, but I just feel like there is something missing in the tarot community. There's definitely, I think the element is that too many people that watch the tarot readings on YouTube take them very, very seriously. And they don't see it as a storytelling. And then, the people who give the tarot readings, it depends on what they do. But I think sometimes, maybe it's just too serious. Sometimes it just needs to be a little lighter, I think. Um, I watch all different kinds of readers. I think they all have their own ways of doing things, and sometimes I want to watch somebody who's like really, really energetic and absolutely over the top, and then other times I want to watch somebody who may be a little more low key, maybe um, more like somebody who's into giving advice. Um, but I feel like what I do brings something different, and I think that if you've been watching all this time, thank you. Um, if if you really are into them, then I'd love to hear what you think. Even if you're not into it, I mean, I can always grow as a tarot reader. I just started, so I'm open to constructive criticism. What I'm not open to is disrespect. And from what I've heard from on YouTube, um, there have been a lot of tarot readers where people have been disrespecting them, and that's messed up. I mean, if you disagree with somebody, you disagree with somebody. If it's not working for you, it's not working for you. And I have to admit, there are times that I'm frustrated because, like, I'll be watching one and I think, oh yeah, this resonates. And then, like, it's like, oh, okay, the thing that I thought would happen hasn't materialized. And a lot of what you get from a tarot reading is what you put into it, like, how you interpret it. I mean, you can say it's the tarot cards all you want, that, like, that's determining everything, but it's not that accurate usually. It's just what's happening in the moment. And I think, like, with my tarot readings, like, one thing I acknowledge that it really is just the moment. Like, I say it usually somewhere in my videos, like, or like now I tend to say it like on my blog or something. But I I don't make any pretensions that I can actually tell the future. But what I do say is that my stories that I am able to write from these really have a lot of lessons in them, and they have lessons about acceptance. They have lessons about just give and take in relationships. And yeah, I mean, I'm a virgin, so I haven't ever been in a relationship. However, I have people in my family that I've known over 30 something, 40 years. Well, it's now 40 years. But they have an incredible relationship. And I talk to them almost every day. And, I've learned from them what a real relationship is. And, excuse me, there's really no reason to decide not to believe what I have to say, not to say that I don't know anything. I've had teachers in college who would say shit like that, like, oh yeah, like virgins don't know anything. I was in a poetry class and the guy pretty much said that. Like, oh yeah, we'd go to the diner, we'd hang out, we'd talk, and we'd had our time, and like, when the people who don't do that, people don't have sex and then go to the diner afterwards, don't know what the hell they're talking about. No, I'll tell you what I know. I know that love is real. I know that people can be in a relationship or not and still feel love for somebody. And I also know that you have to have a healthy dose of self-love, because if you don't, the loneliness will really hurt. I mean, today's just been a difficult day. It's been very rainy, so I'm like very tired, and I got a lot in my head of thinking a whole lot of stuff, and I mean, this is Mental Health Monday, so like, I come on here and I talk about things, and I want to thank you all for watching those. I'm not getting a bad response to those. That's I'm happy with that. You know, I'm also thinking that with the tarot readings I do, I can turn some of them into real stories. Like stories that have nothing to do with the cards themselves. In fact, that's what I did with my novel. I picked one of the ones I did for um, the this channel, and I started writing a book about it, and I love it because I am not in it, and the guy that I'm into is not in it. I even gave myself a pen name. I'm not telling you because I'm not going to jinx it. Besides, I don't know if somebody else has the name. I have no idea. But basically, I I have been using this month to get away from the obsession of the twin flame thing. On Sundays, I can get into it and do it, and I can write one for the shop because I believe it's true. I believe twin flame is a real thing. However, it's not healthy for me to be in it like as much as I'm in it. After NaNoWriMo, I'm probably just going to stay on the same filming schedule, but what I might do in the future is if I film more, I'll have varied things. Like I may have things like knitting videos or art videos of some sort, just to round out the channel. I'm beginning to see more and more that the tarot card reading for me has been really enlightening, and it's been a way to open up. I've made some friends on Instagram, and it is a nice way to open up, like to really see things from different perspectives, like to make sure you're not just stuck in yourself. Like the reading I did yesterday was pretty good. I recommend you watch it because it's probably one of the best ones I've done. It's so, it just gets you, it's like the kind of thing where like you don't see it coming. And that's what I think great stories do. So, like, when I write stories, I want to have that get you moment. Kind of like if you watch a show like Law and Order. Now how you're watching it, it has all this stuff that happens. It's really, really dramatic. And then at the end, they have like somebody give a line. And it's like the story never ended. It's like, oh, the days continue after what happened. And it never quite ends. And I think that's what the best stories do. They never quite end. They always have that little bit of open endedness. Even a happy ending can have that. If the story is really good, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, there's that open-endedness of, oh, these people can have a really good relationship. And that's what I try to bring to the tarot readings. In fact, I know that's what I bring. I bring that element of like the people working together, and it's possible for them to have the relationship, to do what they're called to do. So, I mean, you can take this as a rant if you want. I don't care. I'm just exhausted, and I really need to do what's best for my mental health, which is just using my time better, I think, and giving you better quality because I'm not stretching myself too thin. I've given you good quality. Don't get me wrong, most of my readings have been good. However, I feel like now I'm seeing like the worth in what I'm doing with the tarot. And there's so many possibilities of ways it can be done. I can write stories from it. I can write tarot readings from it, like the ones I've been doing on the channel. And both of those are valid. And people kind of learn things in different ways. Some people like learning through a reading, and other people want to read fiction and they'll learn something about themselves. I mean, I call these readings fiction, but they're different than regular fiction because the cards are kind of like what guide it. But it's opened up my life in ways I can't even describe. So, I mean, I'm hoping with this channel that I can give you guys some hope, especially if you have a mental illness. It's really difficult. A lot of times people pretty much tell you that your life is done. Like you are going to be taking meds for the rest of your life, and you can't do this and you can't do that, and you won't be able to do this. And there's a lot of things where I've been like, no, I am going to do it. I'm going to do what I want as long as it's healthy and it's good for me. Then I'm going to continue to do it. I mean, if it's something that's unhealthy, then I have to really think about whether I want to continue to do it. Like the drinking. Like, that's, I think for a while that's out. Sometimes, like, if I go somewhere with my mom, we're playing gambling or something, I'll have a glass of wine or something. But, mostly I don't drink anymore because going to the bar is really lonely. And it just is. I mean, it's not fun when you're lonely. Like, you just like latch on to people and like with this person that I've liked, I have had all these thoughts in my mind about him, and I don't know him. I really don't. I don't even know what his last name is. That's how much I don't know him. I don't know a damn thing about him. And I've had all these thoughts about, oh, we can have like all these, we can have a relationship, we can have blah blah blah, and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, that's screwy. I mean, yeah, we were supposed to hang out and everything, but it sometimes I think things happen because maybe they're not meant to happen. They're not meant to follow through. Maybe it just wasn't what either of us needed. I mean, I'm thinking about him and like, I don't really want him to have a problem because, I don't know, like have an argument or something and it affects his work or something like that. I mean, he works. He has a real job. You know, like I consider my writing and all my knitting and all those things to be my job. However, it's different because I can choose what hours I have and all that stuff. He has a job and he has certain hours he has to work. And I would hate for us to have a relationship and I like to say something that I can't take back and it screws up his night, you know. And now, of course, it'd be up to him to decide like whether it was worth getting upset over, but that doesn't matter. I mean, relationship can be difficult on people, especially new relationships. And I don't know. I think we would each get on each other's nerves, and because I think there is such a close bond in terms of that whole thing where you have body language. Body language shows a lot. It shows more than verbal communication ever will. And that's part of why it's been stuck in my head, because the body language issue. Um, but I think that now it's kind of flattened out, you know. And I'm in my romance novel and I'm writing it and I love it because like it has nothing to do with anybody I know. It's all characters that could be anybody, and I love it because I'm not writing a memoir. I'm not writing about my mental illness. The person in the book doesn't have a mental illness. None of the other characters have a mental illness. The book is not about that. It's a romance, and it has to do with the twin flame journey because I think that's an important thing to write about. Um, but it's it's great. Like it's great to have that, and I don't know. I'm just thankful that I have that. Now I have to say, if I hadn't fallen for this guy, probably wouldn't be able to write this novel because I have feelings for him. They're real deep, different than all the other men I've ever met, and I don't know. He'll just always be like a muse, you know. Um, it's okay, you know. I'm making peace with it now. So enough about that. Now I'm going to talk about Breakfast in Bed. Yes, this is by Sandra Brown. I think she usually writes mysteries. Not like more like courtroom drama type mysteries, not like cozy mysteries. Um, I actually saw her at book book convention up in DC. They have like a book convention every year, book fair or something. I forget what they call it, but the Washington Post runs it, and they usually have it every year. Um, and I got to see her read one of her mystery books, not this book. She's very good. Um, I tried reading one of her other books, and I just wasn't interested in the story. I don't. Her writing isn't bad. It just wasn't what I was into at the time. So, but man, this book really, it is special. So the story is there's this woman, she owns this bed and breakfast, and this guy comes up, and he's a writer, and he stays in the bed and breakfast, and he is getting married to her best friend, and she has all this like sexual angst over this guy. She feels like, man, I really want this guy, and then turns out he's kind of thinking of her too. And eventually things go on, and I don't want to spoil it just in case you ever find this, but it really is great because it's believable. Like, the story is believable. It feels like it could really happen. Everything in the book is where it's supposed to be. The only thing that maybe was off for me, some of the dialogue during the sex scenes was a little stilted. Um, but it could just be like I'm not used to, like when I've watched movies, when I've watched, anything, um, dialogue is usually flows a little smoother, I think. Um, but the actual way she described the sex and the way she described the romance and the intimacy between them was really beautiful. And her vocabulary is amazing. I mean, she had this amazing vocabulary, this language that's just so beautiful. And I think a lot of people think that a book like this, that it's gonna be not gonna be smartly written. That it's just simple, boring. I know some people don't read them because it's like, oh, I already know what the ending's gonna be. But in this book, even though I figured it would have a happy ending, and usually books like this do, didn't matter. It was the journey to how they got to the happy ending that made me really happy. And that's like my tarot readings. It's the journey about how they get together and they make it work. And like, these two, they have a spat or two. Um, it's just a really good book, and I really enjoy it. So if you find it, Breakfast in Bed, silver signature edition. So it actually has like, well, it's her signature in silver, but I mean it's on the book. It's not, she didn't sign it herself. Um, but it's a love swept romance. That's what it's called, Love Swept. Um, Originally published as number 22. Okay. This may have been published as number 22 when it first came out. Um, it's special. It's special to be able to read. I think I talked about that last time too. Is that um, when you have a mental illness, not everybody who has a mental illness, but me having a mental illness makes it difficult to read, because if I feel everything very deeply, I have to close the book. I can't just keep pushing through to read. And sometimes I'll close the book and I won't read it for months. I had one book I couldn't even read for years, and then when I finally got to the part where it was like supposed to be exciting, I just stopped reading and gave it away. I was like, this is not working for me. There have been books where I read them and they were very good, but I just couldn't read anymore because they were just too painful to read. Like, especially if they have to do with somebody who has a mental illness, it's kind of painful. So I won't read books usually that have that kind of vibe. That's why I tend to read these, because I can read them fast. Um, it's just special. I mean, like, the next one I'm reading called Glory Girl, and it's about a model, and her ex-husband has some revealing pictures of her that he makes money off of, and everybody around town knows who she is, and except she meets this guy who has no idea who she is. So that's kind of interesting to see, how that's going to work, because she's trying to hide who she is from him, so, he won't, like, make fun of her, I guess, won't use it against her. Um, and I guess one more thing I'll share. Um, I think I shared, I don't know, I might have shared this before, but I have this tarot deck. It's called the Cosmic Tarot, and I want to use it next time for the next Twin Flame reading. I have a tarot reader friend who wants to see a reading with these on my video. So I will let her know, and then she can watch the video. And I think the artwork is just beautiful. I mean, it's just stunning. I mean, there's the Hangman. There he is. It's just I mean, I can't get over this artwork. And I put it in this beautiful bag I got from a woman on Etsy. I think her name is Maluka. I'll have to check and make sure. But I got this bag. It was a set bag, and this is the one that I use for my tarot readings. It's like a cloth here. It has like a cosmic look. You know, I got it, and it was worth the price. And I use it every time I do a tarot reading now, and you know, having them together really is nice. And so I do that. Um, so I think that's it. Um, I had a rant earlier. I had a rant on the other one too, but this one was a little calmer, wasn't it? The other one I was talking about how certain people were out to get me, and I would get them if they got me. But I just I just am so sick of living in a world where like people think they're entitled to you. Like they can just take you and your body and do whatever they want with it. Or they can tell you what you can do with your own body. That's screwy. Something's got to change. Can't have that anymore. But that's for another day. I'm not going through that again. I don't want to get into that again. Okay. So I'm Sketchwriter Jess on Instagram. Sketchwriterjess.com is my blog. And I have 2 readings that I need to post up on the blog. I haven't done it yet. I may not get to it this month. I may end up just posting it next month after the novel is over. But I'm planning on doing more for the blog, so I'll see you on Thursday. Bye.